Then yesterday won their conference title by beating a top 10 team by 13 points, but they fell a spot down to number 2 in the final playoff rankings. Now, they made the playoff, which is really all that matters. This means they face 13-0 Clemson in the first playoff game. That's December 28th in the Fiesta Bowl. The winner there will take on the winner of LSU Oklahoma in the other playoff game. That will happen in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl 4 hours before the Ohio State Clemson matchup. This is the 1 versus 4 game. Winners of those 2 games will play for the national title a long time later, not until January 13th in a game in New Orleans. The rest of the big bowl games were just recently announced. The New Year's 6 games look like this. Wisconsin is off to the Rose Bowl. They were not hurt by losing to OSU yesterday, going to Pasadena for the first time since the 2012 season. They got the Ducks January 1st. Penn State is in the Cotton Bowl. They will take on Memphis. It's the first Cotton Bowl for the Nittany Lions since 1975. That game's December 28th, the same day as the playoff games. All right, Mike and Tim back here, and although the championship games were held in football on Saturday, there was a handful of conference games in the Big Ten as well. Let's walk you through what happened in case you missed them. You were just in Northwestern. What you've seen from the Wildcats thus far this year, how do you describe it?
Growing pains. Young guys, they have that big win at Boston College, who just beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. So you look at these young guys, 2 of their 4 leading scorers are young guys. You got Miller Kopp, Pete Nance, Ryan Young, Boo Buie, who's been coming on strong as of late. He's got the right DNA. I think that they just have to get those guys together, get another playmaking guard, and away we go. Be interesting tonight if they can break down Purdue's defense.
Yeah, that's going to be hard, right? Again, it's a Boilermaker team that's held everybody under 70 points and the last 6 teams under 60 points. And with a young team in Northwestern on the road, it's going to be a challenge for them to score.
Well, Purdue's got it all. Athleticism on the wings and out at the guards, shot blocking inside. Be a fun ball game. It's going to be worth watching, folks.
We're going to enjoy it. You will enjoy the game. We'll be back here at halftime. Corey Provis and Stephen Bardo have the call. See you in a bit.
Basketball on BTN is presented by Jeep, and tonight, no better venue in the...
Slams it down. To Jones the lob. Delorier with a finish.
This is starting to feel like a knockout.
They outplayed us in every aspect of the game, and they were better than I even saw in film.
That was Tom Izzo after his team lost by double-digit points to Duke in the ACC Challenge. You can see Michigan State in their next game take on Rutgers about 2 hours from now here on BTN. This is a team that's preseason number 1 in the country, 5-3 right now. From your point of view, what's the struggle right now with them?
Well, one is they've gone through a whole bunch as a team emotionally. 2 is that when you look at Michigan State, they've played like an Elite 8 schedule. And what I mean,
right.
Every time you turn around, they're playing a team that they would have to play to make the Final Four, it seems like. But they just haven't come out on top. And so they're not shooting the 3 nearly as well. The absence of, Matt McQuaid to graduation, but more importantly, Joshua Langford. And you look at these numbers right here, Mike, and they're clearly percentage is down. They're down 1 make, maybe even 2 makes if you look at the last 5 years on that. But that percentage is low in Michigan State. What do I want to say in terms of what you would expect out of a Michigan State team? But, how many points is that a game? A few points here, a few points there. I was telling you off camera, we had a team 21 games in the Big Ten Conference and the Big Ten Conference tournament at Nebraska. We were 8-13. We scored 70.2 points for us, 70.3 points against us. A tenth of a point difference over 21 games, and you have a losing record. The margin of error in those things, and that could be another reason. Sparty just missing a few threes here and there, and that injury hurts them. And those young big kids have not quite done it.
Right.
And so as we go forward, that'll be interesting tonight to see if Rutgers, who's also struggled from the 3, which team's going to come out and get high rhythm, high likelihood of making shots. Who's going to get that rhythm 3? Who's going to get it in transition?
Sure.
Big night for both teams that way.
Right. You mentioned Rutgers struggling. Only 27% is what they're shooting from threes right now. Again, that's the game that's coming up in just a bit, about 2 hours from now here on BTN. The game up next is coming from Mackey Arena. It'll be Purdue taking on Northwestern. The Boilermaker head coach, Matt Painter, is with Stephen Bardo right now.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Coach, we really appreciate your time. What's your message to your team on the Big Ten's lid lifter?
Well, for us, just starting the Big Ten after especially, a huge game for us with Virginia. Northwestern has a huge win at Boston College. It's hard. You have those consecutive tough wins early, and we got to all get used to that. But just trying to move to the next game, be mature about it, have some discipline, not get too high after a win, not get too down after our Florida State loss. And so I think just trying to settle in, trying to win a Big Ten championship. You got 14 teams right now trying to win a Big Ten championship, and sometimes it can get won at this time. These games are so important, and we know this is going to be a tough game, and Chris has got those guys playing really well.
I know it's probably impossible, but how do you replicate your defensive effort that you had against Virginia today?
Well, some things went our way. We got some bounces, and our guys played really hard. And we were able to force them into turnovers. That was something we didn't think would happen. We thought we could force them into maybe 8 to 10 turnovers, but we were able to force them into some turnovers and create some offense for ourselves. If we can play well on the offensive end and take good shots and take care of the basketball and set our defense, that seems to really help us.
Okay. Thanks a lot for your time, Coach. Good luck today.
All right, thank you.
All right, Mike, back to you in studio.
Thanks, Steven. Painter, of course, got a great performance from that guy, Sasha Stefanovic. We were talking about him. 6 made three-pointers the last time he was on the floor.
Without a main go-to guy.
Carson Edwards?
Yes, let's just call it who it is, right? Purdue's a different team. And who's going to step up in that, Stephen Bartow said in the pregame, is it going to be Eric Hunter Jr.? Is it going to be, this guy, that guy? Stefanovic is one of those guys that can make shots. He's got a real gift that way. And when he does go, that gives that team a whole new element. And now they're not so... You heard Coach Painter say, we rely on our defense to create some offense. And anytime you're relying on your D to create offense, it can get dicey. It can get tough to win in this league because it's hard to turn people over. So big question tonight, can he keep that? Can Sasha keep that three-point prowess going?
Right, yeah. Well, right now their leading scorer is a graduate transfer senior in Jihad Proctor. Speaking of grad transfer seniors, Pat Spencer. What a joy he's been, huh? Of course, the greatest college lacrosse player of his era for sure. He's been scoring 11 points and dishing 4 dimes a contest for the Wildcats.
I think I'd hate him. He can do everything, this guy. I'm jealous.
Bit of surprise pigskin. We start off with Saturday in Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin-Indiana. Big win, a 20-point victory for the Badgers. Explosive performance from Kobe King. Career-high 24 points. They shot a season-best 54% from the floor. Nebraska had a bad first half against Creighton and couldn't bounce back, losing to their in-state rival 95-76. The defense has been a problem. Gave up 48 points in the first half, a whole lot more in the second half. Speaking of offense, Buckeyes stayed undefeated, trucking Penn State 106-74. They dropped 60 points in the second half. Caleb Wesson was a star with 28 points and 10 rebounds. OSU now sitting 9-0 on the year. And the game of the night was Maryland's comeback over Illinois. The Orange and Blue led by 14 at half on the road, but Maryland only allowed 19 points in the second half. Got a huge, deep three from Anthony Cowan to tie the game, and then free throws in the final seconds to win it. The Terps are now sitting 10-0. So there are 4 Big Ten teams that are ranked in the top 15. You compare their resumes now. Maryland and Ohio State, the only undefeated squads left. The Terps yet to play a team in the top 25. Michigan and OSU have the most ranked wins, and the Buckeyes are winning by the largest margin, 26 points a contest. So, considering all those facts there and just what you've seen with your eyes, who's the best team in the Big Ten right now?
The best team in the Big Ten right now is Ohio State. Chris Holtman's done a marvelous job with these guys. You look at their defense, the way they are just absolutely one guy, their depth, one guy to the next. It doesn't matter if it's Caleb Wesson or Andre Wesson or whoever it might be. They are doing a phenomenal job scoring the ball easily, defending like a bunch of maniacs, and I have been so impressed with the job Chris Holtman has done over the years.
Unbelievable.
He's done it with less talent, and now he's got a lot of guys healthy. He's got young guys that are good and young guys that are playing great.
Yeah, the most annoying thing for fans that are in the Big Ten is he's recruiting well, too.
Oh, and he'll tell you, like, we're not that good. We're not that good. This is, you guys overrate us. What are you talking about? And he's the biggest sandbagger you've ever met in your life. Chris Holtman.
All right, so Ohio State's number 1. How far is the drop to your number 2 team in the league?
Well, There's a drop. There's a little bit of a drop, and to me, it's Maryland. And granted, they have not played that top-notch schedule that you've seen Purdue play, that you've seen Michigan State play, and even Michigan. They're not there, but they win. They're undefeated. They find ways to win. They've got a veteran point guard in Anthony Cowan, thank you very much. And they've got young talent, and then they've got an NBA talent in the middle.
Well, and the game yesterday, I mean, to be down that much to Illinois and the way they came back, I mean, how were they able to do that?
Well, one was defense. You saw what was going on. And you look at this late game heroics of Anthony Cowan. Stepping in, tying up the ball for a jump ball, then late in the shot clock, hitting a monster deep three-pointer. And then at the very end, leaving his man, Trent Frazier's very good, and getting the steal and the foul, splitting the pair, making essentially the winning free throw then after the big three-pointer. He had a cape on last night. Yeah. It was really amazing to watch. I had it in my Uber on my phone, and the guy tells me, "You have to get out now. You're at your hotel." And I'm like, "No, I'm not done watching this."
That was a thrilling ending, of course, unless you were in Champaign-Urbana. For the Fighting Illini, that is such a tough loss. I mean, those two close losses to Miami and now to Maryland. If they win those games, they're 8-1 right now. So how does Illinois bounce back from the frustration of that loss?
Yeah, Brad Underwood is a very smart coach. He's been around the game for a long time. His kids play hard. They've got a lot of mental toughness. And first of all, they were getting just waxed by Miami. And the fact they could come back and have a chance to win that game, I think, was really important. And as you look at what Illinois did then, came out with a great mentality against Maryland, took control of the game, just couldn't hang on. Your margin of error is so slim in hanging on to some of those games against those good opponents. It's amazing, and they just didn't do enough. And now you look at and you've got to go to Michigan, right? So what do you say to these guys? One, you need to build their confidence, build their mental toughness, and hopefully you can do that and by showing them all the great things they've done in the comeback and building the lead. And then if you just look at a play here and a play there, and if we only judge ourselves on those mistakes here and there, well, now we've got this kind of mindset. You want a growth mindset. You want to know the process works. What we're doing works, and we just haven't turned it into victories, and we will. Yeah. And I think they will. I really do. I believe in Brad. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a nice blend of guards and size, and just two tough, difficult games here last week.
A lot of talent, especially in the youth. You mentioned freshmen like a Kofi Coburn has been really good for the Fighting Illini, and he's been one of the most impressive freshmen in the league. Bowie has been another one for the Wildcats. Again, a career-high 20-point performance in his game against Boston College in the ACC Challenge from the other day. His head coach, Chris Collins, is standing by with our guy, Stephen Bardo, right now.
Coach, really appreciate your time for the game. What's your message to your team and the lid lifter for the Big Ten Conference opener?
Well, we got 5 guys playing their first conference game today, and playing in Mackey is one of the best in the conference. So, you know, I don't want those guys to be uptight. I don't want them to play on their heels. We need to be aggressive. We need to obviously have a lot of poise. In this building, it can get away from you really quick. If you lose your poise, the crowd gets into it. They hit a couple shots. So, you know, we got to try to regain our poise. We got to try to withstand the runs and keep ourselves in the game to make it a game in the second half.
You got some really good momentum going. 3 out of your last 4 victories and whatnot. What's been the key for your resurgence?
Well, I think our young guys are just getting a feel. You know, like I said, we got a really young group, 8 freshmen and sophomores. They're learning by getting out there. You know, we're throwing them into the fire. You take some lumps early. You kind of figure what college basketball is all about, and you realize what needs to be done in order to be successful. So I've been pleased with our progression. I think guys are getting better. I think we're getting more confidence, and hopefully we can carry that into today.
Hell of a challenge taking on Jihad Proctor, the leading scorer for the Boilers. Guy who's transferred into the program, and as you see, almost scoring 15 points a contest. You will see Purdue and Northwestern less than 13 minutes from now here on BTN. It's tip-off. We'll take another short break. When we come back, the Michigan State Spartans have an awful lot of talent, but it's been an up-and-down year for